we're rallying in support of these women who are on hunger strike in Yarlswood Detention Centre, which is the UK's main detention centre for families and children, which means that if you're an asylum seeker or you're applying for any immigration status, you may be doing everything you need to be doing, but suddenly they'll decide that they don't want to hear your case, and they'll come break down your door at 5 a.m. and take you to these detention centers, which are like prisons, and that includes families and children who committed no crimes, been locked up in a place that's just like a prison, except it is less accountable than most prisons because it's not run by any government agency that has any watchdog or anything. It's run by a completely private for-profit company called Serco, right? That's who runs Yarlswood, right?
We've been hearing interviews over the radio where they've been saying that visitors have been bringing food for us. It is wrong. Yarlswood has a no food, no drink policy, so people can bring in food and drinks from the outside.
They're still keeping me detained in here for what reason I don't know. We want in the Home Office to look into the cases because there's people here who've won the cases. Yes, there's people, pregnant women here. There's people who are with mental ill. Some people have been here 2 years, you know, so they need to look into the cases.
Because today, the coalition government is making an important announcement. We're setting out for the first time how we are ending the detention of children for immigration purposes in the United Kingdom. Not least at this time of year, Christmas, a time for family, for goodwill, and especially for children. So I can announce today that the family unit at Yarlswood will be closed to families with children with immediate effect.
Mr. Nick Clegg there talking very confidently on the 16th of December about the new procedure being implemented on that very day. That's funny because I've been talking to some refugee centres and charities that told me a child was detained on Christmas Day, just 2 weeks after Mr. Clegg's announcement. And I wanted to know what these organisations were doing about this.
End Child Detention Now was formed back in September 2009 following a campaign to release a 2-year-old boy from detention in Yarlswood, and we were closely involved with the family at the time. Myself and my partner are active in an organisation called Refugee Action York, so this is how we came across the family, and we visited the family in Yarlswood and saw the distress that the detention was having, both on the child and particularly on his mother. And at that point, we just said, okay, our priority is to get this family out of detention, and we did, and we've succeeded, and they now have leave to remain. The boy is now a British citizen, so they should never have been detained in the first place. But we also felt that we could not just give up on all the other children who were facing similar horrific experiences, and we decided that we would make it a national campaign.
Well, I think this campaign is close to my heart. Over the years, I've seen people that were detained, and me as a person, or we as an organisation, weren't able to do anything to release their pains or to visit them or to make them feel better. We felt powerless in changing something that was injustice. So when other people were doing the campaign, we really happily took part into it. And it's not just me or very few of us, but there were hundreds of people from Shrestha that were more than happy to take part in actions, through marches, to signing petitions, through organising events.
When I was involved in the campaign, I was part of establishing the EDM in the House of Commons, calling on the government to end child detention. So that involved contacting lots of MPs, emailing, phoning up, chasing them. And then more recently I've been involved with sort of local groups in York and North Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, encouraging them to sign the online petition that we had, to do hand printing, to send postcards now to Cameron and Clegg.
And so our young people came up with a number of tactics on how we can raise awareness about the end of child detention. So they signed petition, they went and did marches on the street, they performed, they talked. They got their parents to get involved. They did handprints everywhere. And they went to Number 10 and handing out this petition. So was really lots of energy amongst our people that were drawn to this action. And through working with these groups, this action had a meaning, and all the community was hearing about it.
You know, the message in itself, everybody knows you shouldn't lock up children. Everybody knows it's very hard to stop policy and practice that relates to asylum seekers because it's not an area that wins public opinion, it doesn't win votes. Suddenly you have these young people, inspiring, confident, outgoing, very, very engaging, and people are saying, whoa, we saw the photos on the website, wow, we heard that young girl read her poetry with passion, you know. It really changed the campaign, I think. It brought a very different dynamism to it.
Being introduced to the campaign, I also had the chance to talk to a couple of young people that were detained when they were younger.
How do you think your parents took it when you were detained, seeing as you were so little?
Yeah, I think they were quite worried. Like my mum, I could see that she was quite upset and that, because like we were scared, and that rubs off on us. Like we were scared as well because we thought something bad was going to happen, but really we was just sitting there. That was it.
And you have a similar experience?
Yeah. Like my experience with me, it was me, my mum and my dad at the time. My dad got taken off and it was just me and my mum. My mum had to look after me because I was so young at the time. I was only about 4 or 5. They treated me and my mum like normal, like they didn't do anything to us. They didn't interview my mum or anything, just my dad. And he'd come every now and again to check up on us.
Did you feel like you were constrained, like missing out on stuff if you wanted to go out? And
I think so, because we never went out. Like me and my mum always stayed in, whereas my dad always went out to be interviewed. And like I don't think I saw daylight for about a week because I hadn't been out.
Okay. What about now that you're older, looking back on it, like, how does it feel like?
Really, I don't know, because I can't, like, some of the things that people say that they've been through, like, are really bad. They didn't get treated as me and my family got treated when we got held. So it makes you think, like, how things have changed, how things have got stricter and everything. So really depends.
Well, my hope for the future is that we can genuinely end child detention, and I think that at the moment that involves keeping the pressure up both on the government, on the coalition, and encouraging other organisations that work with refugees and asylum seekers or children who've been in detention to keep the pressure up as well.
We do have a very large support base. We have a large Facebook group with over 1,000 members now, and we get lots of traffic to our website. So although we're a small organisation, we think that we basically are quite an effective one.
We've got people in senior positions saying, yeah, this is wrong. So as we see it, the moral argument is now won. So the campaign shifts onto a phase of, okay, you've said that it's immoral, that it's an outrage. Keep your promise and stop it now. Don't keep telling us that you have to find alternatives. Other countries have stopped it without lengthy pilots, without piloting alternatives that are detention by another name. Just stop it. Keep people in the community where families don't abscond, where they can use local schools and local health facilities, and where they can have their human rights met in the community. They don't need to be locked up in prison-like facilities. So really it's a shift from the moral argument, which we've won, through to ensuring that the promise is now kept.
Obviously our campaign will continue until they genuinely stop detaining all children, for however long, because we know that even very short stays of detention are very harmful to children. The medical evidence is overwhelming, and we've seen it from the impact that it's had on families that we know.
It seems pretty clear that people part of this campaign to end child detention are really passionate and truly devoted to getting this issue resolved, and hopefully they'll succeed in their aims. And now, a final message from the young members of the campaign at Express Our Programme.
Children shouldn't be detained. Detaining children is wrong. Children have rights and one of them is freedom. Children need freedom. Children should be able to play out like we do. Keep your promise!